guys, I'm making Simone. I'm right here real quick so I can talk to you guys about something that I found that was interesting to talk to you guys about. It's actually something that was brought up from Margaret Tracy J. She talked about what was called the prodigal's daughter, and in that video of hers, she talked about like how the prodigal's daughter kind of like often got misled once she got the things that she often asked God for. She often got kind of like misled, and I do ask God to help me when I always try to give you guys messages, because I'm trying to do God's work. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm coming here to tell you guys this for fun. I am trying to do my portion in God's army, and that's telling you guys what it is, right? So the message today is what I got from Margaret Tracy J's Prodigal's Daughter message was that no matter what you seeking in life, the ultimate goal, you need to be seeking God. Like, you need to be seeking God. I know that she basically stating like, you after the things that God could bless you with. You after the promises that God have said that is going to come to you. You after all those things, the blessings, the promises, the gifts that God, have granted you, right? But in a wholesome, she's saying that even if God couldn't give you those things, you still should be focusing on God. So today I wrote this scripture. I wrote this little quote on my mirror. It says, choose God first and everything else will fall into place. And so that's the message to God. That's the message. Choose God. Like, I know you want the husband. I know you want the nice house. I know you want the $1 million. I know you want everything that comes with you being a child of God. I know you want the land. I know you want the promised land. I know you want all those things that God has already promised you. But what you can't forget is that God never break his promises. If he has promised you something, you're going to get it. We don't know when you're going to get it, but God is going to give you the promise that he has promised you. Not a promise that you've made up, not a promise that you've fabricated in your mind, or somebody else, your mom made up, your dad made up. Not those promises. Those promises is not the promises that God's going to give you, but the promises, the plans that he have for us will prosper. So as long as we see God, I'm talking to y'all, talk to me often. As long as we see God, as long as we see God in our life, everything else will constantly fall into place. As long as we put God at the head of our household will always constantly continue to fall in place. When we don't have no food, God will bless us with that. When we don't have water, God will give us things to drink. And if we just often and constantly go to God for our source, go to God as the plug, go to God. Like my first video on here is talking about how God is the plug and how you could get your source so pure from God, because he our father, right? So that's what I'm saying. Seek God in all aspects of life. I'm not gonna hold y'all long. I know I often say that and I get on here and still blabber, but seek God. That's the message. Seek God first through all aspects of your life, through the trials, the tribulations. Understand that everything you're going through is a part of your plans, a part of God's purpose. You might can't see it right now, and that's probably why we often go through the same thing, because the lesson that God is trying to teach us, we still not picking up. We not picking. You know how they say we picking up what he putting down? We probably not picking up what he putting down. That's why we constantly repeating the cycles of the same lessons. But once we understand that it's not the money, it's not the blessing, it's not the money, it is the blessing that we want, but it's not what we want in general. It's not what we want it's not what we're after. What we're after is God. We want God acceptance. We want God to say, well done. You want God to say, you did my job. We want God to say, I gave you 2 bags. You doubled them up to 4. I gave you 5 bags. You doubled them up. I got that from Pastor Stephen. He talked about how there was a 1-bag dude and a 2-bag dude and a 5-bag dude. And the 1-bag dude went back to God with that same 1 bag. And he was saying like how, oh God, I had this 1 bag and I couldn't do nothing with it because I felt as if I needed to give it back to you the same way you gave it to me. But the 2-bag dude came back with 4 bags, and the 5-bag dude came back with 10. And God saying like, yo, I gave you 1 bag, and all you had to do was double it. All you had to do was work with what I gave you, and if you just keep what I gave you, it's not doing what I asked you to do. If I just give God back the 5 bags he gave me, it's not doing what God said do. But if I seek God and I seek out on God's purpose, if I ask God, I want this, but I want you to guide me, God. If it's not right, then take it out. And I start to lose those things, but not miss those things. And I see God working in my life, and I see him prospering in me, and I see that, as long as I'm doubling my bags, you know what I'm saying, I'm doing what y'all well done. So the message here today is to seek God above all else, to seek God above the good job, above the brilliant family that you have picturesque in your mind. choose God over all those things. And if you choose God over all those things, God gonna grant your promises. God gonna grant his promises that he have made to you. He gonna show you that it's worth it being a child of God. It's worth it being a child of God. It's worth it being in this army. It's worth being on the front line, you guys. And that's all I have to say. I am a frontline soldier in God's army. I am chosen, gifted, granted by God to help lead his people back to Christ, to pull my entire bloodline out of poverty, you guys. And I just want, and by being a princess of my city, and I just want you guys to seek God in all aspects of your life, at the beginning of your life, at the beginning of your day. Seek God, and you might stray, but every time you feel this, oh, I strayed, just pick it back up. It's okay. Just if you went 7 days straight talking to God, and then one day came, boom, you end up fumbling, you end up forgetting, it's okay. Next day, pick it back up. Not even the next day, right then, right there. Once you understand, once you make that connection that, oh, I didn't talk to God, I didn't see God. Seek God right then, right there. So one way you can do this, and one way you can do this is just by asking God to help you place your feet on solid ground, help you build your foundation on the rock, so that you could be stirred, steadfast, and rooted in his word. And that's all I got to say, you guys. Seek God in everything that you do. Seek God first. And it's okay to play. One more thing I want to say before I get off of here. It's okay to play. It's okay to, once you get the blessing that God did promise you, it's okay to enjoy it. And I just want to use, for example, my homecoming experience. In my homecoming experience, I know people only see the outside looking in. They only see me having fun. They only see me partying. They only see me laughing and louder than I'm usually is, right? But they never see the beforehand, the write down, the conversation I have with God that grants me the ability to have a good time. I often don't go too many places without asking God to cover me and my friends from wherever we're going, whatever type of time we having, because we've always going in good faith, right? So I often always ask God to cover me, keep me grounded, to give me ability to have a good time, to bless me, to keep me protected, so that when I'm out there, I could have a good time. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm out there, I'm a blessed child of God. So I'm not out there scared. I'm out there to have a good time because God has blessed me. You know what I'm saying? So I know that, and I just want you to say, as long as you know what I'm saying, I don't want people to, see me partying and think, oh, I'm partying, but I'm on here talking about God. But I never party without going to God and asking God to grant me that party, and grant me that funness, grant me that, okay, I've been in the house, I've been on my knees, I've been doing God's work. Let me, you know what I'm saying? And I don't go to God like that. God just give it to me. I don't go to God like they're requesting that. But once the occasion come up and it's something that I feel as if I want to go to, I do have this conversation with God. So that's all I'm gonna say for real this time, you guys. I am the princess of my city, any city that I'm in. Like I say, my job is to pull God's people back to Christ, to pull my entire bloodline out of poverty by being a princess of my city. And if you would know what's that, then you already know what to do. What's up with you guys? I am Nike Simone. Here I am, a princess of a city, in whatever city that I'm in. If you heard about the title, wait. What's up with you guys? I am Nike Simone. Here I am, a princess of a city, in whatever city that I'm in. If you heard about the title, wait.